Here's where the garlic used to be. We just pulled this up last weekend. I got, I think 78 or 79 heads of garlic, and I believe I planted about 80 or 85 cloves, so that's pretty good. They were actually decent sized. I was pleasantly surprised. Some of them were about baseball size, and other ones were smaller, but we were really surprised at the amount of growth we had on them, especially since I thought I was going to lose them because of the kind of erratic winter we had, where it would be 70 degrees one week and then 20 degrees and snowing the next. Carrots, I pulled out quite a few carrots this morning. Here's what's left. We've had some rabbit problems in here. They're eating the tops of my carrots. They've eaten my lettuce down to the stub. So we're trying to figure out how to keep the rabbits out. We thought building this taller bed would help, but it has not helped at all. They just jump right over it. They could be excellent hurdle competitors. Peas, I just picked some peas earlier, but I see that I missed some in there. These are sugar snap peas. My peas down here are snow peas, but I think they're done for the season, so I'll probably be ripping those out and planting more maybe next week and the week after, so we have a fall harvest. To try to bring in more pollinators, I did plant a lot more flowers in my garden this year than I have in previous years, kind of anticipating that we would have bees, but it's helped bring in some of the native pollinators. I've seen quite a few bumblebees and wasps in here pollinating. What else do we got going on? So I have all these radishes I planted. I like eating radish seed pods more than I do the radish, so I'm just kind of letting these grow until they go to seed. I might take some in to co-workers, but I'm not a big radish fan, but the seed pods are delicious. Down here, you can see I have some zucchini growing, which I'm excited about. We made a bunch of pesto. So we made 17 4-ounce containers. So that's a crazy ton of pesto. So we're going to be making some zoodles out of those zucchini and some of these yellow squash, if any of them will survive. Looks like that one's going to take right there. And then over in the garlic bed that we just pulled up, we're going to be planting more zucchini and summer squash, just in case these get hit by blight or the squash beetle gets in there. Usually by about the end of July, mid-August, these are decimated, so I hope to plant backups. That way we will have more. Right back here, growing on these strings, we have some beans. These are a variety called rattlesnake. They are going to be purple and green beans, so I'm excited for them to actually grow. We had, like I said, trouble with the rabbits eating them down. You can see right there they ate the leaves off, but luckily they vined up, so hopefully we'll still get some decent beans off of these if they will actually send out some flowers. We'll see. Speaking of flowers, here's more flowers that we have. I love snapdragons, and zinnias are great for bringing in native pollinators. Marigolds are supposed to help with rabbits. Hasn't really helped at all, so thanks a lot, marigolds, for nothing. Let's deadhead a few of these while I'm in here. Here are our onions. There are 3 rows of regular onions right here, and then I have 2 rows of seed tape onions called White Lisbon that are supposed to be not shallots, the green onions that you get in the store and cut up, but I've left them in the ground so long and haven't used them, they're starting to get little bulbs on them, which is kind of cool. I put some on some eggs yesterday and they were delicious. There's another snapdragon. I like these. When you pinch off the flowers, you can squeeze it and then you can make them talk like that. And sometimes you'll see the bumblebees come in here and pull this down and go in and get the pollen. It's really neat. Got some eggplants going on. This one I planted out when it was super tiny, so it's taken a while to catch up to its big cousin right there. Again, rabbits. Rabbits have eaten my lettuce, my spinach. Trying to grow some nasturtiums, but they keep eating the nasturtium leaves. So we're gonna have to think about how to get rid of these stinking rabbits in here. And I mean, this is fenced. This is a fenced area, but they can squeeze through the holes in the fencing. So next year, we've already talked about putting some poultry fence at the bottom. And hopefully that will work, but we're gonna have to think of a plan B too, I think. Here we got some jalapenos starting. And then here's my regular peppers. I didn't plant as many peppers this year as I usually do because Mike's growing a lot of them. So I just did 6 regular style bell peppers and then this one jalapeno. Here are my yellow beans. Again, rabbits eating the leaves off my beans. But it hasn't affected the blooms, which is awesome. So hopefully we'll still get some kind of bean harvest off of these. So with the tomatoes back here, I planted a lot of basil. Basil is a good buffer to other plants. Tomatoes don't really get along with a lot of other things I've come to notice as I was looking on how to companion plant. So basil is my buffer to all my other plants. Separating it from the beans, and I planted more radish here, some more flowers, and some beets that I planted. I just took out 2 pretty big beets this morning. I was growing some bull's blood beets, and then this one is golden boy. It's an orange beet, so it won't stain your hands red as you're cooking with it. Like I was saying, we made a bunch of pesto, and this is ready to be picked again. So I have no idea what we're going to do with all this basil. I was a little overzealous with the basil planting. Back here I have 4 varieties of tomatoes. I can't remember what they are offhand. I want to say the one on the end there is a Kentucky beefsteak. I have 2 varieties of like cherry tomato, and then I have another slicer that I don't remember what it is without looking at my tags on the back there. But they're growing pretty well. I mean, planting them next to the basil seems to be helping quite a bit. They're growing like gangbusters. And here's some more onions. Planted next to a cabbage. That's, I think, the biggest cabbage I've ever produced in my entire life. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. Make a bunch of coleslaw, I guess. Here's more flowers planted next to my cucumber plant. I was gonna call it my pickle plant. I don't have any cucumber starts yet. There are a lot of flowers. I got some male and female flowers, so hopefully I'll start to get some cucumbers on there. And then here again, more onions that are starting to bulb. Planted in here is my kale. This is the red Russian kale that we like better than the Toscano kale. And then my white Swiss chard is going to flower there. My ruby red chard, I can probably pick some of these leaves off of there. But we've been having a lot of problems with bugs. It's a very buggy year. It was such a crazy winter that it wasn't nearly cold enough to help kill off a lot of the larvae that hibernate in the ground. So we've had quite a bit of moth activity and Japanese beetles. What else? I can't even name all of them, but I mean, they're just, last year my kale was not nearly as holy as it's been this year. I had maybe 5 leaves out of my entire plant that had holes this size on them last year, and this year they're just being eaten like crazy. We haven't sprayed anything, obviously, but I think we might need to find something organic to put on there. My Brussels sprout leaves are being decimated, but I do have little sprouts starting, which is exciting. I've never grown Brussels sprouts before. So we'll see how they turn out. And then down here, this is another cabbage. So much cabbage, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Mike's container garden, he has a water barrel here that he fills up from the rain bucket in the back. That's being filled currently. And it's feeding these buckets here in this C shape, and then also buckets on the back that are on a rain gutter system. So planted here, he has yellow beans, which are doing phenomenal because no rabbits have eaten them. Back here he has some tomatoes growing, sweet 100s. I think he has a black cherry in here and a few other heirlooms on this bucket system. Down here are butternut squash?
Yeah.
Butternut squash, cucumber, jalapeno. This is Brussels sprouts that aren't doing so hot. They're starting to pick up, but the leaves are being eaten terribly. And then some watermelon up here as well. Back here is more basil. Here's some Asian cabbage that we didn't get to, and it's kind of past its prime, starting to flower. So in these 2 containers we're going to be planting some lettuce and some peas to take its place. Oh, and you can see how much the cucumbers started to grow off the side here, and the watermelon is growing out of that bucket. So everything is doing really good, besides the bugs.